right, 125. We will take you up to 2 o'clock. We'll hold off on the text messages, 609-403-0973. If you guys want to chime in, I'll get to some of the tweets. I told you, good stuff with the MMA. We'll get to some more of those text messages. But you got CFFC right around the corner Saturday at the Borgata, CFFC 66. And, of course, their matchmaker, Arias Garcia, kind enough to join me for a couple moments. How you been, pal?
Good, brother. How you been?
I'm doing well. You like the lead-in music when I introed you.
I love it. I love it.
Gave you a little flair and favor. You know, it's just lacking around here in these parts. You know?
that's got to be my theme music from now on.
Yeah. I appreciate you jumping on board for a couple moments. Stack card Saturday, and we get to kind of revisit some old friends, if you will. And I'll tell you, from top to bottom, once again, you guys are showing that you're giving a lot of these fighters an opportunity to shine and showcase themselves. And I'm just curious, right off the top. We know that it's going to be Jonathan Webb and Cody Wilson. We know about Webb's pedigree and Wilson as well as the main event. But how about a couple other fights that you think might be deemed fight of the night, or at least certainly ones where you got to watch?
Oh, absolutely. And I think a lot of our Atlantic County people will be interested on how one of their own does, and that's Cesar Balmaceda. I think you've called a couple of his fights, Rich. He's a real tough kid, comes from a real tough neighborhood, never say die attitude. I guess you could say he was the underdog in his last fight against Joe Selecki, weathered the storm in the first round and came back and just really took it to him the last two. So really excited to see, how he does. And he's fighting, again, a guy that's really good as well, Johnson Jujut, who trains in between, the Daniel Gracie and the NPR gym with Eric Purcell. He only has one loss. His one loss was to, Jared Gordon, who was our 45 champion now in the UFC. I think that's a fight you really got to keep your eye on, because I believe the winner of that could be facing our 155 champ Joe Lowry come October.
It's interesting, too, and you're right. Balmaceda's last, I thought it was an upset. I thought he kind of stole the spotlight away, showed a lot of gumption. I'm actually excited for Jonathan Webb versus Wilson because, I'm a huge fan of Webb. He's a UFC vet. We know what he's been able to do with the CFFC. He always brings a ton of fans, crazy fans that always back him. But overall, he's just a really well-rounded and talented fighter. And I kind of go back to a couple of years ago. I know he had it was that tough fight against Lyman Good with the early injury. But every time this kid's ever been kind of faced with adversity, which is rare, he kind of just comes through in shining colors. So I think certainly if people are going to come out Saturday, that's also the main event to keep an eye out for because you have two very good fighters.
Oh, absolutely. Cody Wilson, let's give him some props, record of 9-3.
Yep.
Comes from a very good camp out in North Carolina. And like you said, John is great. He's only fought for two companies, and that's CFFC and that's UFC. Unfortunately, he took a fight on a UFC with short notice, lost that by split decision, and lost the decision. So I think he's still hungry, and he still has that hunger. And I believe that Cowboy Cerrone is actually coming down on Saturday night to be part of his corner. So that's like an extra added bonus to come to the show on Saturday. But, yeah, Jonathan will definitely have the most people fan-wise at that show, and he never disappoints. He rarely disappoints. He's, settled down a little bit, got a kid now. He's going to be starting his own gym soon in the Washington Township area. So I think he's extremely motivated to put an exclamation point on this fight. And, who knows what the future can hold for him. Another stint in UFC, who knows.
The Marsh and Teed, which is kind of interesting, too, because you look at Marsh 2-2, current V3 heavyweight champ, light heavyweight, lost his last two fights. Now he's moved up to heavyweight, is undefeated, very good wrestling background. Teed, we know about Teed, right? And, he's got those classic submissions. That's kind of a fight where if you blink, you might see one guy not only get laid out or get submitted pretty fast.
Absolutely. And I'm really, really excited to see how Teed reacts during this fight. Teed basically has, throughout his amateur and pro career, has submitted everyone he's faced. He took on, a really daunting task by taking Zoo. It was a fight he wanted, kind of got overwhelmed. Did very well in the first round, kind of got overwhelmed in the second. and he got beat. So this is the first time, professional or amateur, that Teed is coming off a loss. So it's going to be interesting to see how he handles that first round. If he does handle a little bit of adversity, is it going to be a here we go again, or is he going to turn it on and go for the submission, the Teed lock that he's been able to get? So I'm really excited to see what kind of Teed we see Saturday night, and I've heard tons of great things about Marsh. I've actually been trying to get him signed for a little bit, but things worked out, and it'll be a great fight. Like you said, he's a heavyweight champion in another organization, so it's a really good fight.
Yeah, I like the crossover appeal too, because you're right. I mean, sometimes if you don't get enough video or guy, if you don't watch him enough, I think it always makes for an interesting fight. You also got the CFFC interim bantamweight title. You got Georgie and you got Badejas, and I'm a big fan of Badejas as well. And I know Georgie is starting to train. I guess he's trained with Makashvili, correct?
Yeah, I mean, Georgie's trains with Tango at a Mutant MMA, and they come a whole bunch of Georgians that they're tough as nails. He's training with our old 45 champion Levan Makashvili. He's got a great win over Jesse Stern, who is now the Shogun bantamweight title, and Jesse's loss is to Georgie. So this is a really great fight. I'm so happy for Ricky. He deserves a shot again at the bantamweight title. Again, his only loss was to Nick Pace, and since then he's gone on a tear. So I think that's another fight where you really, really should not leave. Don't blink. Don't get a drink at that time, because I really think that can be fight of night of potential as well.
Now, without giving too much away, you guys are going to be pretty active over the next several months, correct? I mean, typically you fluctuate between 2,300 in Philly, Atlantic City. Calendar year, when we turn in January, is this kind of the pace where CFFC is going to go? Try to get an event, every several months. I mean, you look September, October, November, December. That's 4 straight events. Well, actually,
right.
And you start this weekend, so you got 5 straight.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think we're hoping in December. Without giving too much information away, but in 2018 we hope to be in an additional market. Maybe your old neck of the woods, the teams that you like to root for, but we'll see how that goes. But we're excited. I'm excited. I love the fans in Philly, and I love the fans here in Jersey. So right now, for the rest of the remainder of the year, we're going to stick to the schedule that you said. Back the way we have CFFC 66 this weekend. 67 will be at the 2300 Arena on September 16th, and then we're back at the Borgata in October. But yeah, I think hopefully we'll have some good news started in next year where we'll be in another market.
These hidden shots. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't dig. I mean, come on, you know that by now. All right, let me ask you this.
Buddy.
2 things before I let you get out of here. I brought this up, and I don't know if you were driving in, because I know you routinely listen, and I always appreciate it. Do you think there's ever going to be a time where we see MMA in high schools, where we talk about football and wrestling? And the reason I brought it up was because I've had a lot of guys call up regarding the NFL and the CTE, and a lot of parents have texted or called up, and some are indifferent whether they want their sons to play high school football. And I'm wondering, do you ever think there's going to be a time where we'll see MMA that's going to be regulated in high schools?
That's a really good question, Rich. I mean, I think the best basis for MMA is wrestling, and they have it in high school. My sons are 11 and 8, and they're in their 2nd and 3rd year of wrestling. But obviously, of course, wrestling, you're not really punching. I don't think so, just because there's so many different aspects you have to look at. One of the reasons why, I love New Jersey is because of they do the most stringent testing of any commission. They make fighters go through an EKG, an MRI, CAT scan, full blood count, CBC, PT, PTT, and to put a child through that, and it's just, I don't think so. And now you see that, even though there's high school football, you see the latest report of the brain injuries from that latest NFL report, and it's just, I mean, I wouldn't, because of that, I don't even put my kids in football. I just don't see it happening. But never say never. But I can't see any sanctioning of any actual fisticuffs in high school.
You getting excited for the upcoming season with your Eagles?
Absolutely.
I better fix their cornerback position.
Well, we don't have to worry about Shepard, right?
I mean, see, I don't get it. Well, I mean, I'm opening up. I'm extending an olive branch. I'm saying, hey, come on board, and you take the shots like that. Low ankle sprain, my friend.
I know. I was so disappointed when you put that on Facebook.
God, you are a flat out hater.
Well, when you put that on Facebook,
ridiculous. I have to post these things. I post the Eagle stuff as well.
When you put on Facebook that he was carted off on his cart, I was like, yes. But then when you posted yesterday that he was fine, I was like, man, it happens. I don't ever root for an injury, but if it happens, it happens. I mean, look at the. I mean, we've and before you let me go, I have a question for you.
Yes, go ahead.
LeBron and the Sixers.
No, stop.
Give me the odds.
No,
give me the odds.
No, I refuse to talk about the NBA and LeBron right. No.
Give me the odds. August 3rd. Write it down. Give me your odds.
After this year?
Of course. He's not coming this year. After this year when he's unrestricted. Give me the odds.
I'll throw you a bone and I'll say 12%, 15%.
You want to know my percent is?
Go ahead.
50.
All right. Yeah, listen, you never know. Nobody knows how.
Right.
Nobody knows.
And I think the Sixers will do fairly okay this year. I mean, there's no one left in the East besides the Cavs. I mean, everyone is gone out west. But listen, they're going to do okay. That they're going to at least get a meeting with him. And if you get a meeting with him, anything can happen.
Unbelievable. I mean, that's just the last 2 minutes have just been horrible. I mean, you're just coming on here. Listen,
let's go back to CFFC Saturday. You can still get tickets at the Borgata box office, or you can go to www.cffc.tv. My man Richie Q will be doing the commentary play-by-play. He's great as always.
Thanks, Arias. I appreciate it. Checks in the mail, pal. What time do you be doing it with Palico? What time do the doors open?
I believe the doors will open at 5, and we're hoping for a 6 p.m. start, but you know that always fluctuates. But
all right. So I should block out 7 hours then.
Absolutely.
Tell Haydack, speed it up, will you? Get Larry Hassler to speed this up. All right, I'll see you Saturday, pal. Appreciate it.
All right, Rich. Have a great show, buddy.
You got it. Thanks.